Hey there, I'm Carrie Van Ice, and this is Get Your Vibe Right. And I am an energy healer and a mindset coach. And welcome to the mountains of Montana. This is where I grew up, and I come back every summer to spend time with my family and enjoy the beautiful outdoors here in Montana. But it doesn't stop me from thinking about better ways for us to have more emotional regulation. And a lot of times when we struggle with emotional regulation, meaning that we are unable to regulate our emotions and it feels like they are controlling us rather than us controlling our emotions, is because there is an element of our inner child coming up. So I tend to not get too into the woo-woo, even though most of my friends would tell you I'm super woo-woo. I don't really like to contextualize things that way because I think it makes it feel out of our reach. But we've all heard of our inner child, right? Like, I think we all know that there's a part of us, and sometimes we can even feel it when that inner child rears up and we find ourselves having a out of proportion reaction to something in the present moment. And then a couple of hours later, you're like, whoa, wait, where did that come from? It really wasn't that big of a deal. And I just kind of lost it. Sometimes what that is happening there is that the inner child is coming out. And when our inner child comes in and has a reaction like this, it's because there's something back in our past where our inner child's needs weren't met, or we're holding on to emotion that is unresolved or unhealed inside of us, and the inner child gets triggered. So how can we give our inner child agency? And what does that even mean? Well, agency means that you have the ability to make decisions and take actions in the moment. And I'm not suggesting that we give our inner child authority, which is different than agency. When we say that somebody has authority over us, they can make us do whatever we want. The reason that the inner child gets so upset sometimes is because there was a point back in our childhood when we had no agency. Think about this. When your parents were like, no, you're going to bed. You're going to bed. I don't care. Whatever you have to do, or that you want to stay up and play or watch a movie or whatever, you're going to bed. They had authority over you. And in that moment, the inner child didn't have any agency, meaning they weren't able to make decisions and take actions for themselves. So when we get into a situation in our life, when we feel that same way, all of a sudden the inner child steps in, and we're not just experiencing emotions from right now, we're experiencing emotions from back then. So it's amplified. If something upsetting happens to me in the present moment and I go from here to here, and then my inner child also gets triggered, all of a sudden I'm here instead of being here. So when these things happen, recognizing that maybe there's an element of my inner child that I can address. And how do I give my inner child agency in this experience so that I can make sure that my inner child feels seen and heard, because at some point there's something unresolved there. There was a time when they didn't feel that way. And I can take some input from my inner child, but I'm not giving up all control to that inner me that's sort of raging inside. Or maybe it's not anger, maybe it's sadness, depression. I don't really know how it's showing up for you, but I do know that at these times when you look back and say, whoa, where did that come from? That seemed to come out of nowhere. It's a great time to stop and ask yourself, is there something in me? Maybe there's a younger me who got triggered by that situation, and how can I invite that resonance of the younger me to come in and acknowledge what it was missing in the moment, so that the next time something like this happens, that inner child isn't coming in and paying into the emotional upset that's coming up in the moment. And you can think about this. If our right now person, if you're not really into this whole inner child concept, if our right now person feels unseen and unheard, we got a lot of feelings about that, right? But if somebody comes in and acknowledges us and makes us feel seen and heard, we don't get so upset the next time something like that comes up. This is what I mean by giving your inner child agency, allowing them to know, I see you. I feel that you have been hurt in some way. How can I assuage that hurt? And how can I allow you to have some input here, but not control the situation and not control me in the present moment? So I hope that this has been helpful for you. These are just some of the things that I help my clients with when I work with them with the body code, the emotion code, and the belief code, because often what I'm working with when it comes to releasing energy for them is this inner child. It's that little part of us that didn't get our needs met or was shut down in some way. And we get to go in and find those energies and release them in the sessions that we have together. And it helps them be more present in the moment, to be more connected to the people around them, and to be less controlled by their emotions. So if that's something that you would like to experience, I offer a 20-minute free session in any of the body code, emotion code, or belief code, and I would love to show you how this works and help you with this. But I'm also here to empower you with information and tools that allow you to work through these things on your own. So this is just a quick little introduction into how our inner child needs a little bit more agency so that we can have more emotional regulation.